Welcome, and I'm so glad you're joining in to learn about Judah, the making of a patriarch. This is the third and final video in this series on Judah and Genesis 38, also known as the story of Judah and Tamar. Please have your Bible and a notebook, pad, or handout ready with this pen. This video will cover the happenings in verses 14 through 30 of chapter 38 in Genesis. We left off at the last video with a discussion of Judah's honor and friendship with Hiram the Abdullamite, the noble man of justice. We also left Tamar in limbo, back at her father's home. Let's complete this story and see what will become of this family. In verse 14, Tamar takes action. She hears that her father-in-law has gone to Timnah. She also hears that Shelah is now grown up. Timnah is from the Hebrew word manah, M-A-N-A-H, meaning to count, to reckon, number, assign, or appoint. So, Timnah, meaning portion, is a place of reckoning, settling accounts, kind of accounting. Are you getting the picture? Remember, the law calls for Judah to give Shelah his third son, and this has not happened. Tamar disguises herself and sits at the gates, the entrance or opening of the town Enayim. The gates of the city, when we think of those, we think of protection. And here in this picture is one of the archaeological digs in Israel in the city of Hazor, where they have uncovered the gates to the city. This design has been found in many of the archaeological ruins throughout Israel in various towns over the centuries. The gates are actually a complicated entryway, kind of like going through customs. And it happened to be the place where the courts operated and place where the law issues are resolved. This is where we find Tamar sitting outside. Enayim means double spring or double eyes, on the way to portion, Timnah, whose eyes have been or will be opened. Are there two ways of understanding this story, seeing things two ways? It also implies mental qualities that have been doubled. So, who's the smarter one here? A double spring means there's water in abundance. And where there's water, there's life, and the life in abundance as a possibility. Tamar saw that Judah had not kept the law, so she takes matters into her own hands. Judah assumes that Tamar is a harlot, because her face is covered. Masks hide quite a bit, don't they? Judah asks to have sex with her. Yes, he definitely propositioned her. As repugnant as this might be to some, remember he's not committing adultery as his wife is dead, but he is having sex outside of the marital bounds and outside the biblical purpose for marriage of procreation. Or is he? Tamar asks, what price will he pay to have sex with her? And Judah promises a kid goat. This is a definite wordplay on the idea of giving her a baby from the flock as opposed to a baby from the family. Tamar asks for a pledge until she gets the kid. The irony here is that Judah has already pledged her a child, but has broken that promise. Again, the wordplay here on baby child and baby sheep or goat is definitely evident. What pledge could Judah give her that would assure his follow-through this time? Tamar is one smart cookie. By deception involving the same devices, cloak and kid, used by Judah and his brothers to deceive Jacob about Joseph, and also by Jacob to deceive Isaac, Tamar will get Judah himself to fulfill the duty of a laver. And by clever forethought about the consequences of her deception, she arranges things in such a way that Judah will be forced to admit his breach of promise and to acknowledge his injustice to her and his firstborn son, Hardly a harlot, Tamar. Though she bargains, she acts not for gain. She has no intention of accepting the wage of the promised kid goat, but for the fulfillment of the meaning of her marriage. She wants not only what she's owed because of a promise, she wants what she was promised because it was owed to her as a wife. Tamar sits at the gates, the courts of the place of reckoning, and she wants justice. What pledge shall I give you? Verses 18 and 19. What can I give you that you know that I will deliver your payment? Well, he's not real good at this point. There's no shame in having sex with her. Let's bring that up. He's unmarried and it's legal. It would be shameful not to pay her. So assurances have to be made to ensure the payment. Tamar demands Judah's signet, cord, and staff, all symbols of identity, status, and items guaranteeing legal claims. Here are pictures of a staff, two types of signet devices, a ring and a cylinder that may have been fitted on top of a staff. These devices perform the same function as our driver's license and signature with ID that we have today. And when they were affixed to a document, it guaranteed payment or trade of certain items. The use and upholding of the contracts signed with these devices were just as important as, say, protecting our credit rating is today. Tamar, in essence, is calling upon the law to get what is legally and rightfully hers, a child by someone in Judah's family. They have sex, and she gets pregnant. Tamar returns to being a widow. She literally disappears. This engraving by Hans Collart is one of the very few where Tamar is standing alone, and she's standing triumphant at the entrance of Anaim on the road to Timnah. And the staff and ring she holds signal that she has been successful in her mission to have a child in Er's name. Justice tries to make payment in verses 20 through 23. The Adullamite, meaning justice, takes the goat, to fulfill Judah's pledge. Justice demands payment. He asks the town members, "Where is the holy woman?" which is a sacred prostitute. And this prostitute would have been associated with fertility. Where Adullamite sees a holy woman, Judah sees a whore. Adullamite was looking for the sacred at Anaim, the opening of the eyes. Judah's eyes were not opened at Timnah. To the reader, do you consider Tamar a common whore or a vessel of sacred fertility? Open your eyes. What do you see? How do you interpret what is going on here? The community responds, "There is no holy woman in this place." Tamar had disappeared and returned to simply being Er's widow. Her purpose was not to appease a fertility goddess, as her name would also suggest, but to adhere to the law of the Jewish community. Judah says, "Let her keep the signet, cord, and staff." He is not concerned with his own status, and he was not concerned that his legal credentials would not be misused, meaning he wasn't afraid of identity theft. Again, it would have been shameful not to make payment, so as justice as his witness, he tried. And therefore, there's no shame in that. Scandal. Tamar is pregnant. Verses 24 through 26. Now the word on the street is that Tamar is pregnant. Again, she's called a harlot, a whore. As his daughter-in-law, Judah has the right to have her killed because her actions would have been seen as shameful against the family. This is ironic. Now he decides to be her father, her kin. Again, he's doing what he thinks is right. Tamar has brought shame to the family, and to him, he's within the law to have her killed. The question here is, who is the shameful one? The one who has brought shame on the family. Tamar plays her trump card. To whom does the signet, cord, and staff belong? She calls Judah to accountability. In essence, she is asking, Do I belong to this family or not? Judah takes responsibility and answers with, "She is more righteous than I." She did what was right for the family by ensuring the next generation. She fulfilled the law when Judah would not, even if it was through trickery. In essence, she honors the family and Israel, even though it was done in a dishonorable way, playing the whore. The honorable Judah is the one who acted shamefully because he did not give Shelah to her. And finally, Judah acknowledges that the child to be born is his. What did Judah realize? Leon Cass has some poignant quotes here I'll share. Tamar not only shows Judah that he's guilty of incest and the father of her child, she forces him to confront the meaning of his sexuality and to acknowledge its misuse. Having compelled Judah to play the role of his son Shelah so that his brother Judah's first son, does not disappear without a trace, she forces Judah to see what it means to be a father, to care for all one's sons equally and properly. And finally, she forces him to confront his own unrighteousness. Judah had participated in grievously wronging his brother Joseph and his father Jacob. Though seeking to avoid the death of Joseph, Judah was perfectly willing to sell him into Egypt, willing, that is, to allow him to disappear in Israel without a trace, kind of like abandoning his son and Tamar. Judah had left the ways of his father and mother for foreign customs, also abandoning his wicked brothers to their fate without the benefit of his potential leadership. More lessons for Judah. Now himself a father with sons who, like Jacob, ignore their marital and brotherly obligations, now a widower like Jacob, who is bereaved also of 2 sons, now made aware, thanks to Tamar, of the consequences of putting the love of your son above a proper regard for the community future and for what is right, Judah is able to learn what it means to properly care as a father, a brother, and as a son in the house of Israel. Tamar's words to Judah, "I pray recognize thee," are the same words the brothers stated when they brought Joseph's coat to Jacob. The forcing Jacob to reflect upon his own actions toward her and upon his feelings toward family unity. At this point, Judah realizes that he cannot separate himself, but must learn to teach his brothers and lead them. Eventually, it will be he and not Joseph who will be forced to accept the duties of the firstborn. You can read the remainder of these quotes and stop the presentation here. The point here is slam goes the gavel on Judah. Verses 27 through 30. Is it about the kids, really? There are twins, double the life promised, double that which was owed. Tamar is doubly blessed. The first one puts his hand out first. He's given a scarlet thread, and this is representative of the dominant child, the dominant way of thinking. We're going to call that de-theology. The second child, however, winds up coming out first, and this child becomes the firstborn, the child of honor. The writer is saying that the dominant theology gets placed by the Y theology because D theology doesn't work. There's been a reversal in thinking. God does not use blessing and curses as rewards and punishment. That's not how God works. The new firstborn is Perez, meaning breach or burst forth. It also means reversal. He ultimately becomes the great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of David, the perfect D king. And Zerah, the second arising, that which was first becomes the second. It means that the Deuteronomic law is just second, even though it might be the more popular law. This next child is a chart showing the family of Terah, Abraham's father, through the generation of Judah and Perez. This is included in your handout. The story ends with full vindication of Tamar and the repentant Judah. Tamar, doubly blessed, give birth to twins, and Judah raises up the twin boys to Tamar and her late husband, and Judah's dead son. At the same time, the twin boys serve as replacements for both of Judah's dead sons, and Judah will accept them both. Judah, next time we meet him, will be back with his brothers, and the text makes no explicit mention of his return. The turnabout in his outlook and conduct can be explained only by this story. Made wiser through suffering and through teaching of Tamar, Judah will stand out as one amongst his brothers, but now truly ready and fit to lead. He will lead not as a master to whom others bow, yet with the outlook of the fathers, seeing each of his kin as an equal carrier of the ancestral ways. Stay tuned, as next week's lesson will take us back to the story of Joseph and what happened when he landed in Egypt. God bless you and take care.